Do you think you're doing the environment a favor by driving an electric vehicle? You might want to think again. Electric vehicles were designed solely to tackle climate change.
Do electric cars have a bright future, or are we heading towards a big crisis that could change how we travel? Get ready for a surprising discovery that might change the way cars are made forever. Before we get into the crisis, let's quickly talk about how EVs have become so popular. Over the past decade, electric cars have become increasingly popular. People love them because they're eco-friendly, cheaper to run, and super smooth to drive. Companies like Tesla, Nissan, and even traditional car giants like Ford and GM have jumped on the EV bandwagon, pushing out new models that promise quality. So, what about the EV revolution's highs and lows? It's been exciting to see the rise of EVs. There have been some fantastic highs like the launch of Tesla's Cybertruck or the affordable Nissan Leaf. Governments around the world have also been promoting EVs with tax breaks and subsidies to encourage people to switch from gas cars to electric ones. But it hasn't been completely trouble-free. There have been problems along the way, like the high cost of EVs, limited charging infrastructure, and the environmental impact of mining for battery materials. However, overall, the trend has been positive, with more and more people considering EVs as their next vehicle choice. Now, the question arises of, what is the shocking crisis that threatens the future of EVs? Now, here's where things get really interesting. Amidst all the excitement, a shocking crisis is emerging that could turn the EV world upside down. The upcoming crisis is the big shortage of critical materials needed to make EV batteries, particularly lithium, cobalt, and nickel. So why do these materials matter? Let's break this down a bit. EV batteries, especially the ones that power the long-range vehicles we all love, rely heavily on lithium-ion technology. Lithium, cobalt, and nickel are essential components of these batteries. They help store energy efficiently, allowing EVs to travel hundreds of miles on a single charge. Next comes the supply problem. The problem is that these materials aren't as abundant as we need them to be. Lithium, for instance, is found only in a few places around the world, with major supplies coming from countries like Australia, Chile, and China. Cobalt is only mined in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and nickel is primarily sourced from Indonesia and the Philippines. As the demand for EVs increases, so does the demand for these materials, causing a supply shortage. Think of it like trying to squeeze a lot of people through a narrow doorway. It's slow and frustrating, and there's only so much room to go around. On top of the supply issues, there are serious environmental and ethical concerns associated with mining these materials. Mining for lithium, for example, requires huge amounts of water, which could severely harm local wildlife and plants. Cobalt mining has been linked to human rights abuses, including child labor and dangerous working conditions. This shortage of materials is causing big problems for the EV industry. Car manufacturers are finding it harder and more expensive to produce batteries. This could lead to higher prices for EVs, making them less accessible to the average consumer. It might also slow down the rollout of new models and the expansion of charging networks, both of which are crucial for the EV revolution to continue. One of the biggest issues with EVs is the lack of charging stations. If you drive a gasoline car, you can find a gas station on almost every corner. However, finding a charging station for EVs can be very hard. In many areas, especially outside big cities, charging stations are few and far between. Because there aren't enough charging stations, many people experience something called range anxiety. This is the fear that your EV will run out of battery before you find a place to charge it. It's a real concern that can make people hesitant to switch from their reliable gasoline cars to electric ones. Another problem is how long it takes to charge an EV. Filling up a gasoline car takes just a few minutes, but charging an EV can take anywhere from 30 minutes to several hours, depending on the type of charger and the car's battery. Fast chargers can help, but they're not as common as we need them to be. Charging at home is a great option for many EV owners, but it's not possible for everyone. If you live in an apartment or a place without a garage or driveway, finding a convenient place to plug in your car can be tough. Installing a home charging station can also be expensive and might not be an option for renters. Building more charging stations isn't cheap. It requires a lot of investment from both the government and private companies, plus setting up the electrical infrastructure to support a large number of EVs is a big job. It's not just about putting chargers in parking lots, it also means upgrading the electrical grid to handle the increased demand. Despite these challenges, a lot of progress is being made. More charging stations are being built every day, and new technologies are being developed to make charging faster and more efficient. Companies like Tesla are leading the way with their supercharger network, and other car manufacturers are following the trend. So now you ask, what are the solutions for this major problem? It's not all bad news. The industry is working hard to find solutions. Some of the few potential ways out of this crisis are: recycling is the first option. Companies are investing in recycling programs to reclaim valuable materials from old batteries. This could help reduce the need for new mining and make supply chain more sustainable. Using alternative materials is another way. Researchers are exploring alternative materials and battery technologies that don't rely as heavily on lithium, cobalt, or nickel. Solid-state batteries, for example, are a promising option that could offer better performance with fewer critical materials. Car manufacturers and battery producers are looking to diversify their supply chains by investing in new mining projects and exploring deposits in other parts of the world. This could help ease the bottleneck and reduce dependency on a few key regions. Governments and companies are also focusing on policies and innovations to support the sustainable growth of the EV industry. This includes funding for research, incentives for green technologies, and international cooperation to ensure a steady supply of critical materials. Now, let's take a look at EV sales in the United States. EV sales have been growing steadily over the past few years. In 2023, around 800,000 EVs were sold in the US. This is a big jump from just a few years ago when electric vehicle sales were barely a fraction of this number. The popularity of models like the Tesla Model 3 and Ford Mustang Mach-E has really helped boost these numbers. To put it in perspective, EVs made up about 7% of all new car sales in the US in 2023. While that might not seem like a lot, it's a significant increase from previous years. More people are considering EVs as an easier option for their next car thanks to better technology, longer driving ranges, and more charging stations. Now, let's take a step back and look at what's happening worldwide. EV sales are increasing. In 2023, about 10 million EVs were sold, a huge increase from 2022 when around 6.5 million EVs were sold. Countries like China and several European nations are leading the charge. So what does this mean for the future of EVs? While the current crisis is a big challenge, it's also sparking new ideas and changes. The electric vehicle industry has shown that it can come back and adjust well over time. There is no doubt it will find a way to tackle this new challenge as well. Looking ahead, the trend is expected to continue. Analysts predict that by 2030, EVs could make up 30 to 40% of all new car sales worldwide. This means we could be looking at tens of millions of EVs sold each year in the near future. Advances in battery technology, more affordable prices, and expanded charging infrastructure will all play a big role in this growth. In 2024, some of the most popular electric cars in America include the Tesla Model 3, known for its performance and range, and the Ford Mustang Mach-E, praised for its sporty design. Globally, the Tesla Model 3 continues to lead in sales, appealing to drivers for its efficiency and advanced features. The Wuling Hongguang Mini EV is also a top seller, particularly in China, offering affordability and compact size ideal for urban areas. These models highlight the diversity of options available, from luxury vehicles to budget-friendly city cars, driving the global shift towards electric mobility. In the end, the shift to electric vehicles is a crucial part of our journey toward a more sustainable future. The future of electric cars is uncertain, but it's an exciting time for the car industry. Are electric vehicles losing their dominance? Comment your thoughts on this and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.